Hello my fellow reality nomads and welcome to the next episode of Review Fluxx. I'm Trevor Anderson and today we're going to be looking at Shadowrun, Hong Kong. For those of you unfamiliar with the gritty world of Shadowrun, it's an urban fantasy similar to Blade Runner, set in a future where industries battle for control of the impoverished masses and scarce resources. My first experience with the series was back on the Super NES, but this is a game that pretty much anyone who enjoys RPGs or RTSs should pick up. The game starts when you're called to Hong Kong by your old foster father, who sounds absolutely desperate. When you arrive from Seattle, you're greeted by your cop foster brother and a small group of Shadowrunners. These runners are basically elite mercenaries who take on jobs to sabotage, steal, and even murder. Your group is suddenly attacked by police snipers, and you end up having to sneak through the seedy underbelly of a dystopian Hong Kong. Your home away from home is Hoi, a small port town that's covered in fog so thick it blocks most surveillance systems. You end up meeting Aunt Kindly Cheng, a powerful triad boss who employs you in return for protection and an old freighter ship to hide out in. The official word is that your father is dead, but you and your brother have your doubts. The only piece of information you have is one of the last words he said: prosperity. The story structure works well with the gameplay, allowing you to pick several missions at the same time and choosing which ones you'll tackle first. Each of these mini-stories have you doing various jobs: stealing artifacts, chasing down a serial killer, and messing up a company's chi. No joke, calling it geomantic sabotage.
Snake, you gotta go in and move these potted plants. Snake?
Each time you take a mission, there's at least another one on the docket that you can't wait to play, encouraging you to keep pushing on at your own pace. You get them through email requests, which seem very dumb considering this is a world of master hackers. Auntie Cheng sends me the full details, but I don't want this kind of paper trail. And wait, you signed me up for keyword updates too? This seems kinda... Ah shit, they found me already! Throw in some shared nightmares, inner-city conflicts, and working for the mob, and you've got yourself a rich story with tone and conflict. While some of the dialogue may be pretty campy, this is a ton of story, and the good outweighs the bad. I will admit, however, I found myself skipping whole sections of dialogue that didn't help progress the story. What really makes the experience great, however, are the characters, who drip with personality and backstory. They all seem thoroughly fleshed out, especially your dear old auntie. While they may come a little later in the game, even the NPCs have fantastic conversations and really help paint a believable world. Setting our sights on the action, I have to say the gameplay is pretty solid. If you've ever played a XCOM or similar RTS, you'll feel right at home with this game. You spend your off time purchasing weapons, upgrading, and loading up for cover-based combat. Along with rifles and grenade launchers, you can also cast spells and summon monsters to battle with you. One thing I noticed is that your opponents tend to gang up on your character for some reason. Maybe it's because I play an androgynous dwarf with a 90s mohawk, but it seems like they're always gunning for me. Okay, I'm just gonna hide behind here and get myself a little bit of help. Stop shooting me. My guy's right there in the open. Stop shooting me. The game throws you several different scenarios where each mission has different play styles. In one, you may be attempting to sneak through avoiding contact, while another, your goal is to wreak as much havoc as possible. Each one has a thorough backstory that makes you invested in these fun missions. You're given different rewards based on the outcomes of these scenarios, so if you really want Auntie's full payment, you better be thinking about her interests. The leveling system is a pretty standard cascade, similar to Fallout 4, where you have to advance a category in order to get access to more advanced moves. You're not given a ton of experience in the game, so really understanding what everything does would be a wise choice. Sadly, even when you know all these effects, some gameplay elements are more beneficial than others. I went in putting a lot of early experience points into my throw ability, only to find the game with a distinct lack of throwable weapons. Your companions also level up, but only with you choosing one of two skills as they progress up a 5-tier system. The user interface leaves a lot to be desired, however. The developers at Harebrained Schemes has announced that they were focusing on PC from here on out, but the interface is still optimized for touchscreen monitors. The only way to progress dialogue is by clicking a very small box that's perfectly placed for a right thumb and not a mouse. For example, drawing your weapons can give you the advantage in combat, but clicking on a location and then having to hit a small corner button feels extremely unfair when you run into a situation with your hands empty. The inventory system also jumps out after you use only one item, which makes healing after a hairy battle very annoying. The art in the game is absolutely fantastic. City streets drip with corruption, spray painted with messages from people who refuse to be wage slaves. All the character artwork and few animatics all hit a dark tone with a steampunk look. The developers have done a great job at selling their world and the themes within it. Areas of opportunity for the series would be significantly better character models, working on transitions, and going back over their layering. It's not a ton, but these little shortcuts do break immersion in a game that otherwise works. I mean, a techno-noir club with no strobe lights? Come on. The game also describes some items with a little pop-up window, but this much quicker approach is only used for a few interactable objects when it should be the standard. Sometimes the two even step on each other's toes, making this a confusing decision. The game also has the slowest upgrade screen I've ever seen. This bare bones menu can take 30 seconds to load. Load times for stages also take a long time, but the developers have accompanied the long waits with well-written scene scenarios. This game also feels buggier than previous entries, has some pretty bad typos, and did I mention the glitches? Those few technical points aside, Shadowrun Hong Kong is well worth putting up with the hard edges of an otherwise fine diamond of a game. Its D&D inspired world is not only rich with lore and themes, but its fantastic characters and engaging plot makes this a solid 20-hour experience. If you're not into reading a novel's worth of dialogue and emails, there are more action-based experiences out there, but if you're into an atmosphere and characters, this third entry is a fantastic jumping on point for anyone who loves gangster films and espionage thrillers. Well, I'm Trevor Anderson. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you have any games you'd like to see us cover, please don't hesitate to hit us up in the comments and let us know what you thought of this review. Thanks again for watching.